Uzor, do you know your wife can't cook? Chim, Uzor's sister, blurted out, her voice dripping with hate. Uzor looked up from his plate, surprised. What are you talking about, Chim? Chim crossed her arms, glaring at Chinelo. I have been watching her. She orders food from that restaurant down the street and pretends she made it herself. Chinelo's face turned pale. She had been caught. Uzor couldn't believe what he just heard. He turned to Chinelo, his eyes filled with disappointment. Is it true, Chinelo? Chinelo looked down at her hands, unable to meet his gaze. Yes, Uzor. I am sorry. I didn't want you to know. Chim smirked, enjoying the drama. You see? You see? I told you. She's been lying to you all this time. Uzor felt a mix of anger and betrayal. Why? Why, Chinelo? Why didn't you tell me? You couldn't cook. Chinelo's voice trembled. I was afraid. I was afraid you would be disappointed in me. I didn't want to let you down. With Chim's revelation, the atmosphere in the house became tense. Chim took every opportunity to mock Chinelo, making jests about her inability to cook. Chinelo tried to ignore her, but the constant jabs took a toll. Uzor, caught between his wife and his sister, didn't know how to handle the situation. One evening, Chim escalated things further. Uzor, you deserve better than this, a wife who can't even cook a simple meal. Uzor sighed, rubbing his temples. Chim, please stop. This isn't helping. But Chim wasn't done. No, Uzor, you need to see the truth. Chinelo is lazy and deceitful. You should have married someone like Ada. Chinelo couldn't take it anymore. That is enough, Chim. I'm trying my best. Chinelo, desperate to prove herself, continued to secretly hire Linda, a local cook, to prepare meals. She hoped that if she could just buy some time, she could learn to cook properly and make things right. But Chim was relentless. She noticed Linda's frequent visits and grew suspicious. One afternoon, she followed Linda back home and confirmed her suspicions. Back at the house, Chim confronted Chinelo again. So you are still having Linda cook for you? How pathetic. Chinelo's eyes filled with tears. I'm trying to learn, Chim. Please give me a chance. Chim laughed a harsh sound. A chance? You don't deserve one. You are a disgrace to this family. Uzor felt trapped. He loved Chinelo, but Chim's constant interference was driving a wedge between them. He needed to find a way to make things right and to make peace in the house. One evening, he took Chinelo aside. Chinelo, I know you are trying, but we need to find a solution. This can't go on like this, you know. Chinelo nodded, but her eyes pleading. I know, Uzor. I will do whatever it takes to make things right. Uzor sighed, feeling the weight of the situation. We need to talk to Chim. She needs to understand that this is our marriage, not hers. Chinelo agreed, but she knew it wouldn't be easy. Chim was stubborn and determined to make her life miserable. Uzor decided to have a family meeting. He sat Chim and Chinelo down in the living room. Chim, we need to talk, Uzor began, his voice firm. This hostility has to stop. Chim rolled her eyes. Oh, please, I'm just telling the truth. Uzor shook his head. This isn't about truth, Chim. It's about respect. Chinelo is my wife and you need to treat her with respect. Chim scoffed. Respect? She doesn't deserve one. Chinelo, trying to hold back her tears, spoke up. Chim, I know I have made mistakes, but I am trying to fix them. Please, give me a chance. Chim looked at her brother, then at Chinelo, her expression hard. Fine, but if she messes up again, I'm done pretending. Uzor nodded, agreed. Now let's move forward. With the confrontation behind them, Chinelo felt a small sense of relief. She knew Chim would be watching her closely, but she was determined to prove herself. She spent hours in the kitchen, practicing recipes and learning from the online videos. Linda continued to help her, but Chinelo made sure to do as much as she could on her own. One evening, Chinelo prepared a meal all by herself. She nervously set the table and called Uzor and Chim to dinner. Uzor took a bite, his eyes widened in surprise. Chinelo, this is delicious. Chim reluctantly nodded. It's not bad though. Chinelo felt a surge of surprise. She was making progress, and for the first time, she felt hopeful about the future. Despite Chim's continued hostility, Uzor noticed a change in Chinelo. She was more confident and determined. He decided to support her in any way he could. One day, he brought home a cookbook. Chinelo, I thought this might be helpful. Chinelo's face lit up. Thank you, Uzor. This means a lot to me. Uzor smiled, feeling a renewed sense of connection with his wife. We are in this together, Chinelo. We will get through it. Chinelo nodded, grateful for his support. She knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy, but with Uzor by her side, she felt ready to face any challenge. Chim, however, was not ready to give up. She still believed Chinelo was unfit to be her brother's wife. She decided to take matters into her own hands. One afternoon, while Uzor was at work, she approached Chinelo. I have a proposition for you, Chinelo. Chinelo eye worried. What is it, Chim? Chim smirked. I will help you to learn to cook properly, but in return, you have to promise to stay out of my way. Chinelo hesitated. She didn't trust Chim, but she needed all the help she could get. Fine, I will agree to your terms. Chim's eyes gleamed with satisfaction. Good, we will start tomorrow then. True to her word, Chim began teaching Chinelo how to cook. The lessons were intense, with Chim often criticizing and belittling her. Can't you do anything right? Chin snapped as Chinelo struggled to chop the vegetables. Chinelo bit her lip, trying to stay calm. I'm trying, Chim. Chim rolled her eyes. Trying? Trying isn't enough. You need to be perfect. Despite Chim's harsh words, Chinelo improved. She learned new techniques and recipes, slowly gaining confidence in the kitchen. One evening, Chinelo prepared a meal entirely on her own. Uzor and Chim sat down to eat, and for the first time, Chim had no criticism. Not bad, Chinelo, Chim said grudgingly. Uzor smiled, pride shining in his eyes. You have come a long way, Chinelo. I am so proud of you, my wife. With Chinelo's newfound skills, the household began to settle into a new routine. Uzor noticed a change in his wife. She was more confident and self-assured. One evening, after a particular delicious dinner, Uzor took Chinelo's hand. You have done amazingly well, Chinelo, my wife. I am so proud of you. Chinelo smiled, feeling a warmth in her chest. Thank you, Uzor. It hasn't been easy, but I'm glad I didn't give up. Chim, watching from across the table, felt a pang of jealousy. She had hoped Chinelo would fail, but instead she had proven herself. Despite her initial resistance, Chim began to see Chinelo in a new light. Just maybe she had misjudged her. As the weeks passed, a surprise bond began to form between Chinelo and Chim. The cooking lessons, though initially fraught with tension, had brought them closer together. One afternoon, as they prepared dinner, Chim spoke up. You know, Chinelo, you are not as bad as I thought. Chinelo looked up surprised. Thank you, Chim. That means a lot coming from you. Chim nodded, a hint of a smile on her lips. Don't get used to it, but I have to admit, you have impressed me. Chinelo felt a surge of gratitude. She had worked hard to earn Chim's respect, and it was finally paying off. One day, Uzor came home with exciting news. My friend Chidi is coming to visit us tomorrow. Chinelo felt a wave of panic. Chidi was the one who had initially suspected her deception. She wanted to prove herself, but the pressure was immense. I will make a special dinner, Chinelo said, determined to show how far she had come. Chim, sensing her anxiety, offered a rare word of encouragement. You can do this, Chinelo. Just stay calm. Chinelo nodded. The next evening, Chidi arrived, greeting Uzor and Chinelo warmly. It's good to see you both. Chinelo smiled nervously. Welcome, Chidi. Please make yourself comfortable. As they sat down to dinner, Chinelo felt her heart beating so fast. She had prepared a feast, hoping to impress them. Chidi took a bite, his eyes widening in surprise. This is incredible, Chinelo. You have really outdone yourself. Chinelo's relief was palpable. Thank you, Chidi. I have been practicing a lot. Uzor beamed with pride. She's become an amazing cook. Chim, for once, had no sarcastic comment. She simply nodded in agreement, a small smile on her face. With Chidi's praise, Chinelo felt a new, fond sense of accomplishment. She had proven herself, not just to Uzor and Chim, but to herself as well. One evening, Chim approached Chinelo. I have to admit, Chinelo, I was wrong about you. You have shown real determination. Chinelo smiled, feeling a warmth in her heart. Thank you, Chim. That means a lot. Chim nodded, a rare moment of genuine respect passing between them. Keep up the good work, Chinelo. Just as things seemed to be going smoothly, Linda, the cook who had helped Chinelo, returned. She needed a place to stay for a few days, and Chinelo couldn't turn her away. Uzor, Linda needs our help, Chinelo explained. Can she stay with us for a while? Uzor agreed, but Chim was wary. Are you sure this is a good idea? Chinelo nodded. Linda helped me when I needed it. It's the least I can do for her. Chim sighed, reluctantly agreeing. Fine, but she stays out of my way. I don't want anybody to come here disturbing my peace. Don't you think that bringing a total stranger to the house can cause problem between you and your husband? You should learn how to think before you accept some things. And Chinelo nodded and said, thank you, Chim. That really made sense. With Linda back in the house, old habits began to resurface. Chinelo, feeling the pressure of maintaining her new skills, relied on Linda's help more than she should have. Chim noticed the change and confronted Chinelo. Are you slipping back into your old ways? Chinelo looked down, ashamed. I'm just trying to keep up. It's hard. Chim shook her head. You can't go back, Chinelo. You have come too far to go back. Chinelo nodded, realizing Chim was right. She needed to stand on her own 2 feet and not rely on Linda. Determined to prove herself once and for all, Chinelo decided to prepare a grand feast for the family. She wanted to show that she could do it on her own. She spent days planning and preparing, determined to make everything perfect. Uzor and Chim watched, offering support and encouragement. The day of the feast arrived and Chinelo worked tirelessly in the kitchen. She felt the pressure, but also a sense of pride. As the family sat down to eat, Chinelo held her breath. She had put everything she had into his meal. The first bite was taken, and Chinelo watched nervously as Uzor and Linda tasted the food. Uzor's eyes lit up. Chinelo, this is amazing. Chim nodded in agreement. You have really outdone yourself. Even Linda smiled. You have come a long way, Chinelo. Chinelo felt a wave of relief and pride. She had done it. She had proven herself. The family enjoyed the feast, and for the first time in a long time, there was a sense of peace and unity in the house. With the feast behind them, Linda, preparing to leave, gave Chinelo a hug. Thank you for everything. You have shown real strength. Chinelo smiled, feeling a warmth in her heart. Thank you, Linda, and thank you, Uzor and Chim, for believing in me. As the family moved forward, they knew that they could face any challenge together. Chinelo had proven that with determination and support, anything was possible. My lesson in this story: learn to teach and help one another when we are in need, rather than taking every opportunity to mock at that person, because one good turn deserves another. Thank you so much for watching this story, and please do not forget to drop a thumbs up on this story. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this story until I bring another heartwarming story your way. Bye.